morning. My name is Edwina Lebbie. I'm a first year MA student in the African Studies program. And today it's our privilege to have here Astou and Ndiaye. Astou is a Senegalese basketball player. She has over close to a decade of professional playing experience in the US, France, and in her home country, Senegal. She's going to be speaking today about the intersection of gender, community, and sports. So, Astou, welcome.
Thank you.
And I first want to ask, you started playing basketball at a very, very early age. I read that you started playing at the age of 13.
Well, I didn't know it was early. I used to think it was late, but yes, I did start at age 13 because some of my peers that I ended up playing with later in my career started. Some of them started at 8, 6. So I
Wow.
was considering that it was pretty late, but yeah, I
Wow.
did.
Wow. So that takes a lot of determination and persistence to be so young and disciplined to continue with it.
Yes, you can say that.
Mhm.
You can definitely say that. It was a journey for
Mhm.
sure. It was.
And one of the things I was thinking about, is it common and is it as easy for girls starting at such a young age to enter the sport, or is it more difficult, did you find?
Well, I would say like how sports are organized in Africa. It's for boys and girls, it's kind of roughly the same because I ended up finding myself that basketball is a little bit of a luxury because before you
Mhm.
do it, there's so much that goes into being able to play basketball that how I started, I didn't know because I just fell into the sports and loved it. So
Mhm.
it was, to me, it was just a natural progression.
Mhm.
But come later as you grow up and you're not a teenage anymore, definitely the gender part of it does affect because you start thinking about having family and all of that stuff plays into it. So.
Right.
Mhm.
Right now, do you think in Senegal, and also speak from your experiences here in the States or in France, is it easy, or is there some kind of a way available for players to be mothers or to start families while also wanting to continue the game?
Nowadays, I think yes. In the past, the trend that I saw in the earlier generations, like when they have kids, it was harder to continue based on all the social constructs in
Mhm.
place. But for me, I mean, before I had kids, I had my degree and I had chosen this as a career. So it wasn't just, oh, you have kids and that's it. And I was fortunate enough to have people that supported that. And it's not always the case, but I think it's more prevalent now for ladies to have kids and know that they still can play their
Mhm.
sport.
Okay, and you mentioned you already had your degree. What have you found to be the importance of being a scholar athlete? Let's say having something to fall back on would be
Hmm.
the I guess not stereotype, but what is often referred to. How important is it to have your education, have your degree, and also have an alternative path if you choose to stop playing basketball?
I mean, huge.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, I mean, and that's why, as a former athlete, I try to make sure whoever is in my path, Senegalese, American, or whoever, to make sure
Mhm.
that they stick to what they are engaged in terms of getting their education, high school, college, whatever it is, because there's life after basketball, there's
Right.
life after soccer, so you got to
Mhm.
make something of yourself to be able to contribute to your community and your world.
Right. So is that being institutionalized? Is that being encouraged not just by players but by the athletic institutions back home?
Um, it's a little bit it's a little bit more of a different dynamics here and at home, how athletics are tied to sports here and how it is at home. It's not the same. It's not the same system.
Mhm.
Like it's I would say more a lot of trying to connect athletic and sports come back to people like me that will
Mhm.
go and try to instill that more in kids. But it's more at home. It's more of you're doing this or you're doing that. Putting them together like it is here with the NCAA is not. We are not at that level yet.
Mhm.
So kids are in high school. They're playing recreational sports, and I mean just because it's something they like. It's not something that get them through school
Mhm.
at all like it is here. So me in basketball, another guy in athletics, like in track or in any other kind of sports, I mean, based on their experience, will, I mean, to me, fall sometimes the burden of going and making sure that kids stick to their path, that they know they will make a future for themselves. But it is not, sports and athletics are not intertwined like it is at home, yeah.
Right. So it sounds like back home it's more of a community development at the moment. It's
For sure.
players that are mentoring younger players that are trying to instill these values. Now, while that grassroots effort is going on, are some players or you yourself engaging politicians perhaps, or are there conversations on how to bring this up to a national level?
Well, we try as much as we can, but it's not always the given, and partly we do tend to fail where the government does fail in some instances. So, when we have a chance, we do, and in some of the action that we try to engage in, some members of government do help to make sure that some of which what we're trying to make happen in terms of education and health does get where it's supposed to get, but I wouldn't say that we are getting their ear all the way.
I see. So it will take just time.
Yes.
It's starting.
Definitely.
The process is going
Definitely.
on. Okay, now we're talking with Astou Ndiaye. She's a professional Senegalese basketball player. I wanted to ask you about some of the special causes where we already started talking about community development that you do back home, but what specific causes do you contribute to, or are you working on right now?
Well, nothing like huge, but just as much as we can, we're doing actions with a nonprofit organization that we created that kind of just try to fight illiteracy, just work through sports with just using sports as a vehicle to keep kids in school and get them to be aware of more of what's going on around the world.
And this nonprofit is African Organization for Academic and Athletic Development.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have specific programs for girls or boys, or is it co-ed?
For now, it is more co-ed because we're trying to just make sure the less privileged areas are touched. So we do camps and send out messages to different places that we choose based on the needs that we feel going out there. So it's more co-ed, and I'm trying to go always to trying to push for more for women and girls, but it ended up being that you see boy, and I don't have a problem with that. Boys join in as long as they, they can benefit from what we're trying to do. It's it's more co-ed now.
I think athletics and education is for everyone. It's for everyone. So bringing that co-ed atmosphere, having the boys and girls grow up alongside each other, I think that's ultimately good. Now, if anybody wants to get involved with this, is there a way to volunteer, or where do you seek support from?
Support, that's the hardest aspect of what we do. Because we're doing this right now on solely our own capacities. So we find a time in the summer to go do some volunteer work at orphanages, take medical medical equipment, school supplies, and all that kind of stuff. So there are ways to volunteer as to trips that we do at home every year or every 2 years to be able to go and distribute these goods, go find just go see what is really going on, how people are making it, and just one other big aspect of these trips that we do is to just connect different cultures, to let people know what is going on the other side of the world that could eventually affect them. So just awareness trips, but also going to different hospitals in different impoverished communities to be able to help out. So if definitely needing to help or volunteer, can contact our organization.
Okay. Excellent. Now your talk tomorrow is gonna focus on gender and community development. Can you give us a little preview about what we'll be discussing?
Well, the main focus is on education and just putting in context where we are. I wouldn't say precisely, but generally in Senegal and in the West African region, just putting in context, like what the struggles are, the challenges, what can be done about it, and really open people's eyes to what's going on, like the lack of education, how it's affecting everything from social to culture to religion to, just and what is being done about it too. What are the challenges and what is being done about it, at least on our end.
Okay, that sounds good. And Senegal just had its election. It was successful and it was peaceful above all else and very democratic. So with the new government, is there anything you'd want to say directly to the politicians to get their ear if they were listening today?
It's time to go to work.
Yeah.
We have wasted a lot of time in the past based on, I mean, I can't even say based on what, but people that were there, we put them there because we thought they were there for the people. The biggest thing, I think, is to be there for the people and just go to work.
Yeah.
Because Senegalese people are waiting for that and they deserve it.
Well, that sounds very good. So we're excited for your talk later on, and we're excited to learn about what we can do to help and how we ourselves here can go to work.
Sure.
So, thank you.
Thank you.